Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TRS Live with your hosts Brian Keller, Matt Trotz, and Zach Huffman, presented by The Real Shot.
I'ma do this here forever.
EQ.
Forever.
Triune.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Let's go.
All you haters better get comfy. This the day you've been waiting on. Y'all road is finna get bumpy. This the track I'm making my statement on. I ain't going nowhere. This the place that I'm making home. I'll do this shit forever. Hit the gas and I'm taking off. Ow. I was born with passion. My job is never ending and my hustle's everlasting. No matter what, I'm gon' ball, even with my back to the wall. And the best part is that this is the beginning. I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. How's it going?
It is Monday.
It is Monday.
At least the weather
Feels
was,
like one.
Yeah, at least the weather for the most part was nice over the weekend, so hopefully everybody got out and took advantage of it.
I put a lot of miles on the sled this weekend.
Did you really?
Yeah, my back's feeling it right now.
How are the trails?
It's awesome.
Were they?
Oh, yeah, around here, Winnebago County, Washera County. I was all the way out to Wild Rose,
I was
actually.
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah,
I might have saw you Saturday.
Yeah, I was
There's a
way
lot of
out there.
sleds on the-
I got a lot of miles on. My back's a little stiff today.
Yeah.
I can tell I'm not a kid.
Well, the weather for the most part was very nice. I mean, it was.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It was not super hot, warm, but it was comfortable. You
Yep.
can be outside and not freeze. So.
Yeah, it was a good time. A lot of snow. Washera County's got a lot of snow.
Dude, there is. I'm telling you, we had like 18 plus over
The
that
only
last
problem is there's
snowstorm.
so much snow they haven't groomed much of it. I don't know if they, it's tough around here. You get snow once every 5 years.
Right.
It's tough, but you could tell they haven't groomed a lot, so it was real soft because it was getting chewed up a lot from the sled, so you're just kind of floating all over the place.
Oh,
but
really?
not gonna complain. It was better than a 3-hour drive up north. To
You
get
and
the snow.
you and the whole family went out?
Me and the two boys.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, any idea how many miles you put on?
80
Nice.
miles nonstop.
I mean, is that a lot?
It is, yeah. I
It
mean,
is on a snowmobile. You know, when you're on a sled and you see that sign that says 15 miles away and then it takes you 3 hours to get there.
yeah.
Well, it's because the trails are never
Yeah,
straight.
well, a lot of
Right.
times you're going 15 or
Yep.
20,
Yeah.
and you got to slow down for corners. You're not going
Yep.
80 the whole time in the straightaway.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, well, my youngest son Nolan's 8, so he was sitting on the back for 80 miles. He was ready to be done.
Oh,
when it was
man,
over.
that's a
But I was
lot.
proud of him. I mean, that was a grind. He grinded it out, and some of the trails without them being groomed got a little bumpy and whatever.
So you didn't even stop for, like, lunch or nothing?
Nothing, no. I would plan on it, but the problem is there's just not a lot of
Right.
industry or communities in Washera County, as
Right,
you know.
right.
So it's either you stop in a couple areas, and one of the trails is closed because I guess some guy was making too much noise or something, so I couldn't get to Pine River and
Oh.
some of those areas. So it's just tough to find a place to stop.
Yep.
But it was fun.
Nice.
Good time.
Nice. So
All
kind
right.
of weekend recap, right?
Weekend recap. Oh,
Zach-
yeah.
Zach
That-
went on a joyride.
You went on a joyride?
Went on a joyride out to Wild Rose on Friday.
Yeah.
Nice.
Everybody
Nice.
see everybody.
Well, technically like
Wow.
a 6-hour.
I didn't
hours
know. I didn't know
either.
Wild Rose was the place to be.
Everybody
I didn't
wants
even
to
know
be
it was
there,
Wild
dude.
Rose while I was there either. I was like, this is a really cute little town. And
Oh,
then
so
also
you weren't
like-
actually going to see him?
No.
You just ended up in
No.
Wild Rose.
I just ended up in Wild Rose. I was going to pick up a car for a friend of mine.
Actually, in the summer, if you ever want to go on a cruise, it's actually really pretty country just to
It's
go
beautiful.
cruising.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take my son, my slingshot, and we'll just go. We always go west because I don't have to deal with traffic in
Yep.
cities
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff.
You know, in the ice and the snow, so we were in my buddy's like basically brand new Civic Si, which is like a sports car version of the Honda Civic, which
Okay.
is super quick, super awesome. And we were on these back roads, and the only thing that sucked was the fact that every corner had ice in it.
Yeah.
And we're like,
you're
we're
a
trying to
drifter, though. I
enjoy
thought
it.
you'd be drifting around the corners,
See,
no?
there's a little bit of a difference when it's just ice because then your front end doesn't have traction. You need that front end traction
Oh,
to drift.
okay.
So,
All right.
and even in front wheel drive, it just
I don't
doesn't
know.
work.
I drift on my sled a lot. It's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun on sleds.
Yeah. Yeah. Russell, what'd you do this weekend? Anything?
Worked.
Had a boy?
Yeah, worked. It was nice weather, so I opened the door even for a little while, and the customers were coming in. Yeah, I think everybody's starting to get spring fever.
Oh,
Yes.
big
even
time.
though
Yes.
even though the weather hasn't necessarily cooperated 100%, but I could just tell this was really the first weekend for the Sheboygan store that I started to see a lot of the salmon guys peek their nose in, and they were looking around and they wanted to kind of know what was new, what was going on, and
Yep.
so I opened up the door for a little bit on Saturday, and I let the sun shine in a little
Yeah,
bit. It was
Well,
amazing how
fresh air is nice,
It
too.
feels
exactly.
good.
Yeah,
Oh,
Feels
God.
good.
it's amazing how if you got in the sun a little bit, how much warmer it felt than it really was outside.
Well, and that vitamin D is just,
It's
oh, my
monstrous.
God, it's huge.
It's Took the dogs for a walk on Sunday with the snowshoes and just put some miles on. I've been using the dog bone shed training system.
Oh, okay.
I'm not an expert at it. Like,
Is this on the new puppy?
well, my 1-year-old white lab, the
Okay.
new puppy, he's working.
I was gonna say it's pretty young for that. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, there's a good time to start.
Is it? Okay.
And then, so we went for a long walk, and I was
Morning, Ryan.
chucking sheds and helping them, having that white lab find them. But I mean, when there's 2 foot of snow,
Oh yeah.
the shed sinks to the bottom of the snow pretty fast.
Well, I could tell if we got off the side of the trail just a little bit,
Oh,
you
yeah.
started kind of sinking in.
Yep.
It's crazy how much snow is out there. It was
So
fun.
hopefully, people that are tuning into this, in warmer climates now it's shed season for a lot of guys. So if you're a deer hunter, it's shed season, and walleye fishing still going. Our Battle of Bago is coming up, and we got a lot of people fishing the Bago system. So I know.
How's the ice fishing? They got to be down. Do they ice fish Sheboygan at all? Or?
Yep, so they're fishing the river quite a bit.
Okay.
They did really good in the marina over the weekend. They caught a lot of big northerns in there. That's always a pretty good spot for that. The trout fishing hasn't been as good this year as normal. I don't know if the trout just didn't migrate into the rivers late in the fall like they normally do or what. Normally up in the property, in the Kohler property, where you got to have a pass to go, it can be gangbusters. I mean, you can have 15-plus fish days, and I haven't heard that this year, but there is a lot of guys out fishing. They're doing pretty good. They're picking up, some of that automatic fisherman stuff that we sell.
Oh, awesome.
The liquid or the units or the bases, and they're using that to target them.
Because this is the time of year that usually goes gangbusters,
Yeah.
right? There,
Yep.
Milwaukee, Harbor, those types of places.
For trout, you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
salmon
like
trout.
Milwaukee Harbor has been pretty good,
Okay.
for browns from what I'm seeing. A lot of the guides are going there and doing pretty well. So.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Now I've been hearing a lot of big pike being caught recently. Are they moving up already?
Well, they spawn
in,
early.
like early March,
Oh,
right?
yeah. They'll spawn under the ice, I've heard.
Yeah, I think if the water temp's right.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because a buddy of mine caught some nicer northerns, and then he said when he was going to eat them, filleted them out, and they were just loaded with eggs,
Yep.
obviously.
Yeah, they spawn real early.
But I didn't realize it was this early. I thought it was right. There's 2 foot of ice yet. That's crazy.
Well,
so.
they're moving into stage. I mean,
Right,
they're not
right.
spawning yet, but
Yep.
if it gets warm enough and there's still 2-3 inches of ice, they just do their thing. It's all water temp driven. They don't really
Right,
care.
right. So
From what I heard, Bagel was busy this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded
Yeah.
like the few reports I got from customers that came in and picked stuff up, and then I called a couple of them after that I know well just to see how it was, and they said it was a lot of people. A lot
Well, I
of people
think
were
there's a lot of
catching
guys
fish.
They were
pre-fishing
catching
for
fish. Yeah.
Battle and Bagel
Yeah,
this
pre-fishing.
weekend. So we got Glenn on Wednesday.
Yep.
Yep.
Glenn's coming in Wednesday, one of the founders of Battle and Bagel. He'll be live here in the studio, and I think a lot of guys are out trying to find their spots.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then you had Sturgeon Spearing still going on.
Yeah,
So I'm sure it was a busy place out there.
I was supposed to catch up with a couple of friends and go out on Bagel. I didn't end up doing it, but when I talked to him, whether he's lying or not, he said he wasn't that great, but he caught his first sauger, so that
Oh,
was
wow.
pretty cool.
Very cool. They've been making a comeback big time
Yeah.
on Bagel.
That's
The
good.
saugers, yeah, they're cool fish.
Now, a sauger and a saw guy, that's the same thing, right?
Nope. Saw guy is a mix between a sauger and a walleye.
Really?
And a sauger is its own.
So now what's the difference
Species.
between the three fish, like their characteristics then?
So a walleye's got more of a green color with the white tip
White
on its
tail,
tail,
yep.
right? A sauger is more brown. They got a little different spot pattern
Little stripe,
to them.
almost like a stripe
Yeah,
pattern
yeah.
on the side.
And
yep.
and saugers are nasty. Like
they're
are
mean. They're mean.
Yeah,
yep.
they're mean fish. Like you'll get a walleye in the boat and they just kind of lay there. They're almost like a docile pet. You get a sauger in the boat and their gills flare out and they get all stiff and tense
Really?
and crazy. Yeah. And then obviously a saw guy is a mix between the two of them.
So does the saw guy have like a white tip on its
I
tail?
believe it does. Yes.
I
I think
think
they
that-
got
yeah.
the more brown look to them, but they got the
That's
white tip on
crazy.
their
I'm
tail.
gonna have to look up some pictures of that because I thought you said sauger or saw guy. I couldn't quite tell. So
So
I
it's
got them right there.
Yeah,
You can see
yeah.
that on the bottom.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got a
there you
walleye
go.
and a sauger up top.
Yep. Sauger are cool fish. They're really cool
yeah,
fish.
cool
yeah.
looking fish.
Now what? Can you find a picture of a saw guy? Is that even? They're gonna have a picture of that? I mean, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I would think so.
Right.
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
take-
they're really, and they fight different. They
They
fight
do.
a lot harder than a walleye does typically. They don't get as big. I mean, a big sauger's like 24 inches. I mean, that's a big one.
Right.
They just don't typically get that
They
big.
seem to do really well in river systems
Yep,
because they're mean and nasty, so they kind of tend to win the dominant deal with other fish
There you
around
go.
them.
Yep.
It's a smaller one, but
Yeah, you
Oh,
can kind of see
man.
it's got the spots on the dorsal
Yeah,
fin there, and
it's
got a little tip on the tail. And
that one has a thin white line along the tail.
Yeah, a little brown, kind of the brown streak starting to go down the
Yeah.
side.
they're
Yeah.
definitely, when you see them in real life, one's green and one's brown.
Wow,
Like, you could tell the
That's
difference.
a beautiful fish, though. Is
Yeah,
that a
they're
mount,
pretty-
Zach?
no, that's just a DNR. I'm guessing that's just like a stock
just
photo that they laid it out.
Yeah,
so.
that was.
No,
that
they're really cool. I always like sauger. They're just cool.
Paul Coote says they are a bulldog mentally.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what he's talking about as a song.
Bulldog mentality. They're just a little tougher.
Mentality,
Yeah, no,
not mentally.
Everybody that watches this show on a normal basis knows Matt has a problem with the English language.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Nice.
That's okay, Matt.
Mentally. Anyways, so I don't know. Well, let's talk about MLF in a minute. Let's talk about the All-Star game.
I was hoping you were going to go with that first. I mean, God, I'm not. Okay, so first and foremost, I am not a basketball junkie.
I like basketball.
I know you do. I like high school basketball just because I think more because I coach football and I coach baseball and I know all the boys, so I watch the boys that I know play, and I have fun with that. College is good because you're still trying hard. I'm sorry. I got a really good friend of mine that loves the NBA. He's like, oh, dude, turn it on. It's awesome. I watched it for like 5 minutes. I want to claw my eyes out. It's terrible.
They were on pace.
Did you like it?
I knew if you're an NBA fan, you know what to expect. It's like watching a Pro Bowl.
Ugh.
It's like two-hand touching a Pro Bowl. The NBA is and during the season, there's very little.
But why
defense.
not just have a bigger 3-point shooting contest, or who
Could've
can
been
make
worse.
a 3 from half court or whatever?
That's what it turned into.
It was terrible.
Now I will say though, the lob pass from Steph Curry.
I did see the highlight of that.
To Giannis. That was phenomenal. That was super cool.
I mean, his head was like even with the rim.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just goes up there.
I think the numbers on his jersey were even with the rim. But, yeah, I went and
I mean, athletically, these guys are freaks.
phenomenal.
They're awesome athletes, but that's just, I mean, come on. What was the final score? Like 180 to 182?
They almost had 100 points in the first half. So they were on pace to set almost a 200-point game. But then they started getting a little more serious in the second half, like playing a little more defense, just throwing shots up from all over the place.
It was terrible.
The one good part, I think, is I didn't watch it, but I saw a little bit of highlights this morning and saw the scoring. Giannis, if you're a Bucks fan or you live in Wisconsin,
he's a freak.
He proved yesterday that he belongs there
as
one of the best players in the game.
Yep.
I mean, he played against the best guys.
That
and
Middleton
he
started out hot, too. That guy was like 4 for 4 from downtown. Now, obviously, there's not a whole lot of hand in your face or something. It's just like shooting warm-ups, but I don't know. I liked it, and then unfortunately I left just as the second half was getting started. But
it was brutal. It's just not my thing. I'm a horrible judge of basketball. It's not my deal.
Yep.
I'm waiting for baseball season to get
I was going to
going.
say, catching up on sports come April and May would be a little more fun.
I get once the Brewers start, baseball starts, I'm all in.
Well, that could just say like they should make these All-Star games more either more skills based.
That's what I think it should be.
Or if they're going to actually play a game, make the game mean something. Now you said you weren't a fan of baseball about
Yeah. See, and I talked to somebody last night. Yeah, I just didn't like it dictating two teams' seasons.
Yep.
I don't know what else it could possibly mean.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I understand it being worth something is important. But like now the NBA though, they're mixing matching conferences, right?
This is the first year that I was aware.
Was
they
that
did
the first year?
Yeah,
Okay.
and the draft, the player draft, which was neat.
Yeah.
That part
that's
of it, that
kind
was
of cool.
Yeah.
Because wasn't Giannis one of the captains?
He was.
It was
Giannis
him and LeBron.
Yeah. So then.
And that was because they were the top two vote
They were
getters.
the top
right?
two
Yep.
vote getters. So then, yes, they could pick from anywhere.
Which is cool. That's kind of cool.
I thought that was because normally it's East versus West.
Yeah.
And then you get usually it's one-sided
Yep.
for the most part.
Plus, they made a trade via Twitter, which was pretty cool.
Oh,
too.
did they?
That was
did,
when we were going to Twade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I meant. Yeah, it was coming out twice. Yeah, no, they made a
what
trade
was that?
via
I
Twitter.
didn't see that.
I want to say it was like maybe Ben Simmons was involved. I don't remember.
Okay.
So I think Giannis traded Ben Simmons. I don't remember. Westbrook, I think, is maybe we got for it.
See, that's cool.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part was cool. So
That-
after the draft, one of the two, and I don't remember, I think it was Giannis, made like an initiation and said, I'd like to give you this guy for this guy type of deal. So they allowed him to do
I
it.
think it's cool to be able to watch the true icons of the sports kind of play.
Yep.
But mid-season, you're never going to get these guys whose careers are based on not getting hurt to play hard when it doesn't really count.
Yep.
You're never going to get that.
Well,
and I don't blame the guys.
We had talked about that with the NFL last week, too.
Oh, right.
There's certain times of year they don't go hard.
Well,
with the NBA season being so long, I mean, there's those guys take days off.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Literally.
Oh, baseball does it, too. They take games off, for sure. They have to.
Right. Yeah, that's what I meant. Games off. Like, why are they on the bench? I don't know. Maybe they say they have a broken thumbnail or something like that.
Some of them just put rest nowadays. It's not that uncommon.
Well, the Brewers did that with Braun last year down the stretch. They gave him damn near a month off just because he's old.
It's actually a good strategy because now as we get the playoff push,
well,
now
that's
you guys
when you
are
need
rested
them.
and ready to go.
That's when you need them.
Right. I mean, it's a long season. I don't know. I was watching with one of my sons.
I did. Yeah,
he likes basketball. It was funny though because just kind of off topic, but he had played basketball all day. So So he was up early.
Okay.
He went to Sheboygan. There's a tournament there.
At North or South?
I don't know exactly what school he was at.
This is your oldest one?
Middle child.
Oh, middle. Okay.
So he was in Sheboygan all day. He got home about 3 o'clock. Had a really good time at the tournament. But then he's like, "Well, let's go watch it." Now we don't have cable, or our internet's slow where we are. So streaming this game would have been impossible. So we went over to my in-laws, and we're watching the game, and he was getting tired. And it was crazy because I remember being a kid and getting all antsy and stuff. Well, he just wouldn't stop talking. He was just like a chatterbug. I'm like, Evie, take a couple plays off, bud. Rest.
Right.
Watch the game. So then finally Molly, my wife, called me and she goes, you got to come home. It's like almost 9:30. I'm like, yeah, we'll be home soon. She's like, no.
Now.
It's now. But it was just funny because and as soon as we get in the car, it's like.
Out? Was he out?
Oh, he wasn't out, but he's
no.
first thing, he's like, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I'm like, yeah, dude, I could tell. Like, just like
Right.
1,000 words a minute. And then, like, some of it was like hallucination talking. It's like me on the show every day. It's like grabbing random thoughts. No wonder.
See,
right?
I didn't watch the NBA thing. I just turned on because my buddy's like, hey, you should turn this on. I watched the MLF thing yesterday. That was awesome. Again, I'm a huge fan of this full format. I think it's fantastic. I know there's some naysayers that don't think they're fishing for big fish. You got that clip you can pull up quick, Zach?
I definitely do.
So Edwin Evers won the tournament.
Let's just catch up. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hello and good morning. Yeah, but continue on.
Edwin Evers won the tournament. He took second in the first one.
That's awesome.
He wins this one. Play this. This is the last fish.
That's a big one.
You can't talk any more southern than this guy.
Stay on there, fish. Stay on there, baby. Wow. That's a game winner right there. It's over.
This is the last day.
Going down through here, flipping and everything else.
So see the lead he's got right there? No, watch this fish.
That is the tournament right
this
there,
is in
boys.
Texas, right?
That is a big one. Come on, baby.
Now, Brian, can they not use nets?
They can't use nets.
Okay. I was going to say, because that was
Watch this.
over a while ago.
Oh.
The fish can't touch their jersey.
Oh.
So there's a couple rules like that.
Really? So they can't football hook them either. So nor can they do that, or that fish can't drop on the ball.
You can do it, but you get the penalty.
2 minutes?
Yep.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a minnow right there.
Golly, son. Let's weigh this puppy. 8 pounds, 1 ounce.
Holy man.
$100,000 fish.
Big old fat girl.
That's awesome. I'm sorry. To me, that's way more exciting than anybody fake playing basketball in the
league. So what do you think? It's weird because they got multiple fish.
I mean, I'm all jacked up just watching it. I'm not even that guy, right?
I know it's totally different states and totally different, but like now this is the second fish that I've seen that were 8+ pounds.
Yeah.
And you would think that would be coming more from Florida.
Well, Texas has got huge fish.
Huge fish.
It's a southern thing. I mean, like in a week, I'm going to Alabama to fish a tournament down in Gunnersville. There's giants in that. It's a growing season thing, right? Those fish never stop growing.
Well, what was it? Andy Montgomery? Is that the guy we watched catch that fish with like
10 pounder, 9 whatever?
Yeah, 9.6, I think it was. But how long is that fish? Is that a 27-inch fish?
It's probably. I don't even know. Bass are so hard. I have no idea. Nobody really, unless it's a 12-inch size minnow, you never really length.
Right.
Like walleyes, I used to measure every walleye.
I mean, you could tell that fish was fat, but it just was long too.
Yeah, because even in walleye tournaments, you talk length lingo, right?
Right, absolutely.
I got two 27-inchers.
Yes.
Because you don't really weigh them on the boat because you don't want to hurt them or anything, so you don't take that risk.
And in walleyes, it's pretty common that a 27-incher weighs 8 pounds.
Right.
24-incher weighs 4 to 6 pounds, whatever. Yep. It's very standard. Bass are kind of sometimes they're football, sometimes they're not. I think there's a little more variation with the bass.
I agree. Yep.
So we're gonna get TJ on hopefully this week, but to me it looks like it's been more of a finesse bite in Texas rather than what they were doing in Florida. Would that because we had that one guy throwing that, what do you call it, a cricket or whatever?
Yeah, and that's a new bait we're gonna see at the Classic. It looked like a blade bait.
And he's drop shot.
Yep. Well, it sounded like I didn't watch that whole thing. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched most of it on Sunday. But it sounded like he was primarily flipping the bank, and I think he just picked up that drop shot, just threw it out in the middle, just to see if something goes out there. And he pulls that fish.
If he's flipping the bank, are those spawning fish?
Yeah,
or are they
mostly
pre-spawn?
Yeah.
Probably. Nice.
So that's cool. I don't know. That format is just exciting.
I like it a lot.
watch.
I don't care what anybody says.
Right.
I think that there's different types of techniques, but there's just so many options for a fisherman in that series to use as their technique.
Well, I think it goes down to, we were talking about this a little before the show, is that if you fish a normal tournament, you can get your 5 big fish in the day, and you can sit around and play tiddlywinks the rest of the day and win.
Yep.
You can't do that in the MLF. You got to keep catching them all day long. He caught that fish with for like 10 minutes to go.
Right.
Like you got to be, and if he went to caught that, and the guy that was in second by 5 pounds, he catches that fish, he's in the lead. You got to keep fishing till the end. You can't just take it easy.
This format reminds me from my world, for racing. Nope, not saying it. I'm not saying it.
See, I need a drink anyway.
Russell, if Zach says anything about car sales, you have to take a drink. Okay. So I was thirsty,
so close.
dude.
But no, with motor racing, right? Think about a race like NASCAR Daytona 500, right? That's just
Hamlin
that's a
won,
cup.
By the way.
Yep.
That was yesterday as well.
Yeah, yep. That was Daytona 500. I didn't watch it at all. I don't have any interest. I love race cars, but I have zero interest in left turns. I like having a mixed balance. But anyways.
It's way cooler if you're there in person.
Oh, absolutely.
I went to a couple races
I would never say no to a race.
They're awesome in person. Like
right.
the thunder of 800 horsepower. 40 I mean, it's awesome. Anyway,
then you go to road races, though, and the endurance races, you get 1,400 horsepower.
Really?
Yep.
See, I'm there.
Well,
I'm in.
I got free passes. We'll get in. But anyways, think about this Bassmaster versus MLF. Bassmaster is the type of deal where, like, racing-wise, that's the NASCAR of racing, right? That's just your short. If you're done in an hour and a half and you've got your live well and everything's done and over with, great, you're done. Where MLF is like endurance racing, right? And like the 24 hours, 12 hours of Sebring, Le Mans, whatever, like that's where they are grinding all day.
Yeah,
and that is way more impressive than seeing somebody go, I caught 5 fish, I'm done.
It also is going to build mental toughness because
absolutely.
you know what's going on to some level, right? I mean, I'm sure they're not stopping and taking a look at it, but I mean, to some level, you know what's going on. I mean, you know where you're at. The guy that's sitting there with you, I'm sure, is updating you.
And you fish a lot. Think of the added pressure, knowing you're in the lead or knowing you're only 2 pounds behind or whatever. It's so cool to watch it, be able to see that all unfold now. And I think the guys that don't understand what that's bringing to fishing, just forget bass fishing. What that's going to bring to crappie tournaments. Crappie tournaments are huge down south. What that's bringing hopefully gets into the walleye world because I think walleye fishing is super exciting, but you don't get to see it.
Well, that was the comment I made to you before the show. So the disappointing part, if you're a walleye tournament guy, or more importantly, if you're a fan of walleye tournament fishing, is the tournaments from the year before started getting played in like December, January. So you can't even use that information to your access for the same season. You got to wait till the next year. That's the disappointing part. Is it's like, okay, guys, get excited because the big circuit comes to Winnebago, but they don't get to find out how the guys won the tournament or what the hot tips and tricks were until the following season.
See, and it's funny because being in the retail business selling fishing tackle, the walleye guys are naturally a little more tight-lipped for whatever reason. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Like I know Cavallas was awesome when he won on that the jig and wrap deal, the shiver minnows.
Yep.
I mean, he let that out of the bag right away, right? Yep. So I think that they're not all. Some of them get it. Some of them understand that it's about selling tackle and teaching people how to fish. It's not about you winning the next one.
Right.
But some of them don't get it. Whatever. And teach their own. But these bass guys that fully understand how this all works, you want sponsors to promote your circuit. You got to sell tackle. That's what it's all about. Where a couple weeks ago we had a guy that I even remember who it was down south Florida catching him on the Mega Bass Dark Sleeper. The next day we had 40 orders for him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just if the walleye guys could ever truly understand what makes this world go round,
it would.
The walleye fishing is exciting stuff.
It is exciting.
It's just the sponsors, they haven't backed it because they don't push it as hard.
Right.
Well, talk about like a more lucrative fish, right? It's a harder fish at times to get to bite. Maybe so. Not. But
it's also probably the most versatile because it's not just trolling.
Right.
But there's jigging and there's rod in hand involved, but there's also trolling. So different from bass, different from salmon.
Do you think you got the troll for bass?
Oh, for sure. I've caught thousands of them trolling. You can't do it in tournaments.
Right.
But as a whole, absolutely you can catch it for sure.
Yep.
But
I mean, it's more of you'd have to get them like obviously post spawn or kind of.
I've caught thousands of bass trolling.
You could troll outside of a weed bed or where there's some cane.
Smallies
up or
maybe
something.
more than largemouth.
Yeah.
Right.
Smallies are a lot like a walleye. That's what's funny. Like we get the Sturgeon Bay Bass Open, and the top 10 boats are usually walleye guys. Because they
know.
Yeah.
Springle and Parsons the Parsons guys did good last year.
Yeah, a lot of the walleye guys do really well in that because it's more of a finesse bite, and walleye guys are better finesse fishermen than bass guys for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
They just are. But anyways, it's really cool to watch that format, and I really hope people are paying attention to what it's doing and what it could do for the rest of competitive fishing.
Yep.
I mean, think about that. If we could take some of that towards the salmon world, where it gets no play really from a tournament perspective,
right.
But you want to talk about what could be really cool televised events, salmon fishing could be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Because now you got big boats, big reels, big line, big water.
Yep.
You know, all the tackle stuff we're going to talk about. It's sexy, cool looking stuff.
I vote we pitch a show about that to Discovery
Well,
Channel.
we're gonna do a lot of filming this summer on my dad's boat up in Sturgeon Bay with Russell. We'll get out there. We'll film a lot of this tackle we're gonna have.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna see what I'm talking about. I mean, it's fun to watch an 8-pound fish fight, a bass fight, right? It's fun. You get a 30-pound king salmon on, and you got it's a battle.
It's a line screamer.
Well, it's this line screaming. You got the stretch. Your knots coming to play. Now you got a whole nother aspect of who's running the boat.
I was just gonna say. So then the biggest formula of all this is it's not one guy. It's not two guys.
It's like
three or
Team,
four.
yeah.
So now you talk big fish, big boats. You got big attitudes.
And big
Right.
So
water.
now you got buddies.
Yeah.
You got buddies, right? So you got it on. You got the fish on. Brian's driving the boat. He's got to work it in the big waves to give us a chance to catch it.
And then
I
there's
got to
always
get it in the
that-
net.
Right, and then there's the other guy trying to cut you off.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's-
So
it's
you got a
good
whole
stuff.
bunch of formulas there, a whole bunch of circumstances that could
That
all
would be-
cause a problem.
I think it would
right?
be
So
awesome.
It's like
it
that
would be,
deadliest catch type show.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, then
is,
you got the big water being on the Great
Yeah.
Lakes typically.
Big
So
waves.
Now
weather,
you-
weather gets involved.
yeah.
Big
All
weather,
kinds of
yeah.
stuff.
I think
Yep.
it could be awesome stuff, but again, who's gonna put the money into it? Because filming stuff isn't cheap, right? Like we're
Not at
setting
all.
the show up. This stuff isn't cheap to do.
It would be. It
But
would
from
be.
a viewership
Just start-
standpoint, it would be awesome.
Yep. Start small with it, and just kind of. I don't think it would take long for that thing to blow up.
I think the salmon Great Lakes thing could be a really cool television thing, right? You're
I
not
agree.
not going to have a big, and that's a big knock on the MLF is they don't have big weigh-ins because there's no fish. Okay, well, what do you want to see? Do you want the show or do you want the weigh-in?
Right.
Right. I think the Bass Elite guys, I think the walleye guys for a lot of it are about the weigh-ins. How many people came to the weigh-in? Where I think the MLF is more concerned with overall viewership.
Yep.
How many views did we get on this content as a whole?
Right.
And that's what they're using to promote
Right.
it.
Yep.
I think like a salmon thing would be really cool. But no, I mean, you don't want to see a salmon that's because salmon typically die when you put them in the cooler.
Correct, yeah.
There's no live release typically of
No,
a fish.
no.
I mean, they fight so hard they usually just have a heart
The
attack. I
weigh-in's
think, and
not.
it's over.
We have a tournament every year at the Sheboygan location. It's fun to bring your son or daughter down and see these big fish, but
Right.
I mean, it's not
But
a
they-
glorifying deal. You're literally grabbing them, throwing them in a basket, and putting the basket
Well,
on
and
the
they've been in a
Right.
cooler typically.
yeah,
They
sure.
got the ice marks.
Yeah,
You know how
exactly,
the fish looks
yep.
like you can bring it out of the
Yeah.
cooler.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think if you could show the fish catching aspect of it, it would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Like really awesome.
Because the intensity level really gets high at
yeah.
something like that
Yeah.
in comparison
If
to
you've
the
ever got-
walleye board going
if
back.
you've ever
or-
had a 12-pound rainbow tied around 2 downriggers because you know what I mean. You get these fish in too fast, they
Yep.
lose their minds.
Yep, they're green
Now
yet,
it's
yep.
right now it's under this downrigger, over that downrigger. Holy shit! I mean, it's bad.
What do you mean? You want them as tired as you possibly
Oh,
can?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise,
Oh.
Absolutely. These fish will
I'll-
just
I'll never-
terrorize
I mean, I've
everything.
done it a couple
I'll
times.
never forget it. I've done a lot of fish netting growing up. I'll never forget it. My dad put me on the net. We got this really green rainbow. It was like 10, 12 pounder up to the boat, which is a big steelhead on the Great Lakes. I'll never forget how fast I learned how fast you got to get the net out of the water. Because I was probably 13. Get the net in there, and I didn't get his tail out of the water fast enough. That fish went stiff as a board, right? Rolled out of the net, 6 feet out of the water, over this downrigger. Down here, he's screaming everyone. It was just chaos.
Wow.
It was. If
Well,
you
like-
ever want to learn how to net a fish, you start
That's
with
where you gotta-
salmon.
Yeah,
That's
everything
it.
else
Do
looks
it.
easy.
Everything
yeah.
else, you net a. I don't care how big a walleye is. It's a piece of cake compared to netting a 10
Well,
pound
even on the
steelhead.
intro to the video where that one is
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like,
and that's a baby.
oh man, that's.
It's cool stuff.
I'll have to. I've been invited a couple times. I'll have to go out.
Oh,
this
we'll get
year
out
for
to this
sure.
year for sure.
I've done a little bit on Big Green, but I've never done anything in the big water.
See, and that's
so-
why I was so excited with this merger on the salmon side, because salmon fishing itself is awesome.
Right.
I mean, that's where I cut my teeth out on the big lake. The fishing is awesome, right? It's just it wasn't something we had the resources to do until we did that merger with Russell and Anglers Avenue. Was having that expertise of, I mean, I put so much time and energy into the bass and the walleye and everything else we're doing here. I kind of lost touch with the new and the hot stuff and what's changing in the industry and all that. And that's where obviously what Russell brought to the table. So it's really cool to be able to see that assortment starting to hit the floor. I mean, it's just awesome looking stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Did you have any of those? Were you able to get any of those videos over to Zach?
I sent him.
Yeah,
sent it to
I've got them
Yep.
over here.
Just
real
of what the
quick, so-
store's starting to look like. We've got maybe like a eighth of it out there.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know, as he works out there, we got maybe an eighth of the assortment, and it takes up the entire wall.
Oh, the whole. So if anybody's familiar with the store, the whole terminal wall that used to be is gone now. The wall is still there, but the terminal tackle is off that wall, and it's all Big Lake stuff starting from where the bait cooler is. So, yeah, there's some.
Is this the actual video?
Yeah, it might be.
All right,
I'm just getting muted. I don't think.
And this is just our Stinger assortment.
So I had to stand back to film this because it's so tall as well. Where
right, and the gondolas are there.
The gondolas are aware, but I mean that's all Michigan Stinger. Then we move into just different stuff.
Now there's the walleye. Those are the walleye stingers, right?
Yep. So there's obviously holes that are going to be filled and everything like that. But
another thing we should mention too is TRS is carrying every SKU of Moonshine, which is a pretty big brand in the salmon industry as well. So we got every color that they make.
Yep.
So if a guy's looking for a specific one, he knows he can be confident he can check with us, and we at least had it in
all
stock.
of those holes. If you saw holes, those are all placeholders. That's all stuff that just hasn't shipped yet.
Hasn't come in.
Or sold out already, because we have sold out of a few items already.
Now I don't know.
And then you guys were just talking about those flashers.
Yeah.
Well, how many was it? We showed what?
We got
colors
maybe there's 30 out there. There's 800 SKUs.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And there's like a couple pictures I sent Zach. They're not the greatest pictures, but it's just this the profile of it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's insane. So there's one picture.
Yeah, it goes kind of far.
That's
almost the whole wall.
It's almost the whole
so now
wall.
we're gonna knock out the rest of that.
The whole wall will be all Great Lakes. Even the wrapped around part will be all Great Lakes. And then that whole run of gondolas there is gonna all be Great Lakes.
So again, for anybody that's been in the store, the terminal wall, and if you look at that view again, that goes down to the used area.
Yep. Well, it used to be the used. That's getting moved.
It still is now, but it will be. Now it's gonna wrap around. It's gonna be amazing.
And it's so. I know a lot of your customers are kind of questioning where is the buyer's guide? When are we getting this stuff online?
Yep.
I think people drastically underestimate how massive an undertaking this has been on all fronts.
So we had got a rough number from Justin just before we came on, and from Michigan Stinger alone, we have over 3,000 different SKUs.
Yeah, it's almost 3,500.
Yeah, I think it's between 35 and 4,000 just in one product line.
Right. So massive undertaking is an understatement.
Yeah.
In fairness, we underestimated.
Oh, I think
thought
so
we
too,
were
for sure.
we were obviously in the best position to estimate, and we underestimated what kind of workload was really going to take here.
I know for a fact I underestimated it big time.
So it's coming. The real answer to all the questions which we're getting every day is the salmon schools are coming. The buyer's guide is coming.
Now you finished the draft of the buyer's guide.
Yep,
that is
done.
over with Megan Radke. Now she's working on developing what the buyer's guide is going to look like. So that'll be a couple weeks yet.
Yep.
But it's in process. It's coming. It's going to be there. It's going to be worth it. It's going to look
just in time.
It's going to look better than ever.
Yep.
I mean, she's shown me the cover she was working on. The thing looks awesome.
Phenomenal.
And she's really good at that. So it's awesome to have somebody with that skill set around now that can help make it look awesome.
And the salmon schools are going to be the same scenario, right? They're going to be better than ever because we're going to be able to produce them. Yep, we got Zach. He's going to be able to produce them in a way where it's going to be easier for guys to find stuff. They're going to be a little more specific on exactly what we're talking about. So all of those things are going to only benefit the customer, which is why we did this whole merge from the beginning. Is we wanted to be able to service, the entire state of Wisconsin and now all of the Great Lakes in a timely manner on Great Lake stuff. And from the couple of guys, which it's more than a couple by now, but the few guys I've already had comments back from who have ordered online some Great Lake stuff have been just incredibly impressed. They're like, 2 days I already got my stuff.
Well, I think the big difference for people to understand is the 3,500 SKUs or whatever it is for Stinger. That's all stock.
Right.
That's in stock stuff where in the past was more of a drop ship from Stinger because who's going to have this much
nobody
stuff?
Makes a commitment to that level. Nobody's done it.
No.
You can go on any
website.
This is
in stock. The website shows you the actual live stock of the product. If we have it, it ships out same day. As long as you order before, I think, 11 o'clock Central Time.
Which is why we wanted to put this together, because we knew that we had grown a really nice business with a good customer base who wanted this product. But in Sheboygan, we just didn't have the space and ability to provide them the service they deserved. So when Brian and I and his dad Jim worked this together and looked at it, we said, you know what, we've here in Appleton we have the space between the two stores. Now we have the knowledge and the ability to make it happen. So it's coming to fruition, and by springtime we're going to be
And it's only I can't wait to get out and start filming this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just gonna blow people's minds what we're capable of doing on the water this summer. It's gonna be awesome.
So there's been a couple comments on here. We'll catch up on those. So Todd Prawl has said, first of all, you're the man. I think he said.
Oh yeah.
And then he said he remembered stocking all these lures and such with you. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's helped me at the shows before. He's kind of one of the guys that comes into the shop from time to time when he's not busy doing something. Helps with stocking the shelves and stuff.
Awesome.
And
Sweet.
he's
So,
a good customer of the store. So.
And then we got Bradley Phillip. This guy's been saying he's been bass fishing right now in Florida. And then when I asked about trolling, he said the guide that he was with in Florida actually did some trolling. And then I'm going to comment. He also asked, I thought we were all in walleye, but it sounds like he can come in and get some really good bass advice as well. And that's for surely true.
Oh, for sure. We've got, for sure, on the floor, the best great bass assortment in the state by far. Hands down, no questions asked. We've got more bass tackle here.
In between.
You just need to come and see it.
Yes, in between you, Ty, Justin Tony.
Yep.
The bass knowledge in here is phenomenal.
When a lot, and he's not wrong. When we started, we were mostly walleye.
Yep.
And a lot of the transition came from when I kind of personally made a switch from the bass to the walleye, and I started to understand more of what the bass world was all about.
Well, and Ty
obviously that trickled into the store.
Yeah, Ty was a huge advocate of that as well.
Oh, big time.
He's a
but see, I used to kind of push Ty off a little bit until I got into, okay, Ty, you were right. Let's go.
Well, and he's one of the reasons, too, that our panfish selection. So, like, not only are we're bass, walleye, salmon, Great Lake
and
type
the panfish is huge.
Panfish is monstrous. And people
and I'm trying to follow that crappie trend down south.
Yes.
Like you go down, like I made a road trip to Texas last year. There's probably 4 or 5 crappie boats for every bass boat. That's how big it is down south. It's crazy. The crappie thing down south is huge.
So to touch on that a minute, that's probably one of the top 3 things I was excited about when we made this merge was the opportunity for knowledge base between the 2 stores in different species. If you look at it, tell me another retail 2 stores or a retail store where you have the amount of experience in bass fishing. You got Brian, Ty, a bunch of those guys. Walleye tournament fishing, Brian, myself, his dad, Jim.
Yep.
Salmon fishing, Brian and Jim did it for years. Charter captains. I obviously grew up a block.
Well, my dad's been a captain for 30-some years, I think. I've been a captain myself. I'm already on my first renewal.
Is it Nick? What was Nick? Is Nick? Is he
Nick's he was the first mate out of Bailey's Harbor.
Yeah. So again, like Nick is the guy on the floor that also can answer the salmon, Great Lake stuff. So Tony's a big walleye trolling type dude. So
if you look at the what we have for experience level, that's what TRS is going to offer. That's different, and that's where like these buyers guides, information, website videos, classes, but just even during the summer, fishing reports and videos, we can offer legit information, which is what the customers are looking for. Right. You go to Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, other places, they have the product. They have product to sell you, and good product, and a lot of times at great pricing. The problem is that a lot of times there isn't somebody there that can help you out on specifically for where you're going or what you're doing to catch fish.
Right.
Well, and I think our customers are starting to see now pricing-wise, it's all based on volume, right? The more you buy, the better your pricing gets.
Exactly.
And we're at that same level now where our prices are the same as the bigger stores.
We've always made
it
a point to be as competitive as we possibly can.
Yep.
And I think we've achieved that, and now it's just going to get better. I mean, the way we're buying now, the pricing is only just going to get better for the most part.
Well, and it has, and I think people can see that.
Well, then we always have the we'll price match to a certain point. So don't be afraid to ask.
Oh, absolutely.
But again, like by the time you ask the price match, you're going to realize that we're already there.
Right.
But we have that next level too, which is nice, which is for the weekend guy into the real serious tournament guy, which is the custom stuff, which is where this kind of stuff gets really crazy, where the numbers blow up, and that's where the time has come in getting this all put together. You can get stock photos from these manufacturers like crazy. We could have been up already. The problem is a third or half of the salmon assortment we have, now a third or half of the walleye assortment that we have is custom. You're not getting photos from anybody because it's our stuff.
It's ours.
This is stuff we had built, that we designed. Somebody in house here or in the Sheboygan location designed this specifically for us.
Yep.
So the guys are calling calling here, they're calling the Sheboygan store like crazy because they're like, I gotta have the new stuff and it's not
Right.
up yet.
Right.
You know, they're all hyper about it,
Well,
and we understand. We're trying as fast as we can to get it there
Nick
for
is
you.
burning that photo
Well, I was
booth
gonna say
up.
we've
I mean,
got a guy taking pictures full time every day. That's all
Every
he does.
time I'm here, he's sitting
Well,
there.
that's all he
doing
does.
it. Yep.
That's what he
he's
does all day,
doing
every
it.
day is take
Yep.
pictures of product to get on the web, and then I got another full-time guy that does nothing but add the products to the web.
Right.
I mean, that's all I do.
It's again, it's
It's just
mind-blowing.
there's that much
there was,
stuff. It's unreal.
Jack
Yep.
says,
Hey, Jack,
Russ.
how are you?
So,
So-
can we get that Michigan Stinger?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's call
Who
him.
we're trying to get
So,
on here now? Who is
Rob,
this?
Rob Belmore. He's the owner of Michigan Stinger.
Okay.
And what we wanted to do was give him a call and kind of just go through a little bit of
Yeah,
the
of the
order that we
assortment
placed,
and-
what we're trying to accomplish, and he can kind of tell us a little bit about how many SKUs they have, what they offer. It's a crazy amount,
Right.
and nobody's been able to really put together a assortment like we have.
Now while Zach's getting this tied up, so they've got obviously the salmon stuff.
Yep.
They've got a whole line of walleye spoons for guys on Erie. I think spoons for walleyes is way underfished.
Yeah.
Personally, as a
Yeah.
whole,
Yep.
I know they do it on Lake of the Woods. Some I
Yep.
know they do it on Erie.
Yep. Saginaw, it's starting to take off a little bit too.
But I think the Bay is going to circle right behind it, right? I
Yep.
mean, there's no ifs.
Have
there's
you
no
ever
question
trolled
about it.
spoons for walleyes?
I did on Erie a little bit, but I never did it on the Bay. I don't know why. I just never. I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Right.
I think it's a confidence thing, right? Oh, this works. Why would I get away from it?
Hello.
So.
Rob, you there? Can you hear us?
I'm here, guys. How you doing?
Hey, not too
Good
bad. Not too bad. On your screen, are you on a phone or a desktop?
Phone.
There should be a little camera button if you want to hit that, and you can get a live feed in on here. Should look like a little movie camera.
Let me go. It's got a line through it.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Awesome. Let me get this switched over quick.
It's great.
Boom. There we go.
There
There
we
he
go.
is.
There we go.
Rob.
This guy.
All right.
So, Russell, why don't you reintroduce?
Yeah. So we this is Rob Belmore, the owner of Michigan Stinger. Rob, kind of what we wanted to do today was first I'm gonna show the customers a little bit some of the new colors we did, some of the ones we worked with you on some of the TRS colors, so to say. And then I guess you can maybe give us a rundown of what Michigan Stinger is, what different stuff you guys produce, and then we've been talking already about the fact that we ordered a very, very large order with you, and we've kind of stepped up as a real player. So if you can elaborate to that, but I'm gonna show the screen quick. A couple of the customers. Can I do that, Zach, or should I wait till after?
So I don't have, because we're calling it on Skype
Perfect.
right now, I
Then
can't
we'll do that.
zoom in on that.
Okay,
so.
we can do that
Yep.
after. I'll let you go ahead, Rob. Give us a little rundown of what Michigan Stinger is and maybe our relationship over the years, too. On we've been friends and working together for about 20 years, I think.
It's been a long time. So, what we started as a small family business in the basement of our house 40 years ago. When Terry started the company, he said he was too poor and didn't want to spend the money on fishing lures, so he decided to make his own. Well, it quickly took on another role where it became a job, and then a part-time business, doing stuff after their other jobs. My mom and Terry, and after about 10 years, it became a full-time job for one person, and then 2 and 3, and we've been up to 15 employees. And it's just, because the product is so great. We get really lucky, I think, with the design initially, and then we started putting our mind together and listening to anglers all over the Great Lakes, putting colors together then, and here we are. Started as a spoon company, and we've got thousands of colors of spoons, as you know.
Yep.
And then we're doing the Pro Troll blanks, so we've got our custom Pro Trolls.
Flashers, 8-inch
Yep.
and 11.
Yep, and the fish and chip as well.
Yep.
And meat rigs, 5 different sizes of spoons, 2 in the Scorpion, 1 lightweight, 1 half-ounce casting and jigging. The other 3 sizes, the Stinger, the Stingray, and the Magnum. And then we do fish rigs, or we call it the Stinger rig, which is like a lot of people call it a grease trap.
Yep.
And
A lake trout designed product for the most part.
yeah, and then we've done some ball bearing snap swivels, some stacker stickers, a lot of other added on things. Dive bombs, add on your line anywhere, trolling weight made out of lead.
So let me touch base on something real quick, Rob. When you and I first started working together and I was pro staffing for you, Lake Erie walleyes and the scorpion spoon was like the deal. Those two were like married together. You guys were shipping, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of spoons over there. That was the deal. Every shop had them, a huge wall full of them. I went there about 18 years ago or 20 years ago was the last time I was there. Walked into a couple stores, a Fisherman's Wharf and a couple other, and they had huge walls of them. Then kind of the fishery changed a little bit, and everybody was fishing worms and cranks and some different stuff. And they were still using spoons, but it wasn't to the volume that it once was. Now I know in the last year or two, with the fishing really taking off and hitting a peak maybe of all time from what people are saying on Erie, and a lot of these eater-sized fish, everybody's going bonkers over spoons again. And we've put in a pretty big selection of scorpion spoons. So are you seeing tons of sales, I'm assuming, from everybody in that product line?
Yeah, we are. For a little while there, it was a little scary because we dominated that fishery with spoons for walleye. And it really slowed down. Guys were fishing deeper. They were running cranks. Then, like you said, running worms. And as of last year, it really turned back around because the fishery exploded. And it's completely back to a spoon bite. And right now, we cannot make enough of them. We just got back from the Baumler show 2 weeks ago. And it was one of our top 3 Baumler shows of all time. So the spoon bite's back. The fishery is bigger and better than ever. And we do, have the best spoon for that market, which we're grateful to be a part of.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you got 3 main spoon sizes. The Scorpion, which is referred to more as the walleye spoon, the small one. Then there's 4, right, actually? Yeah, 4.
4, yeah.
So then you have the Stinger, which is probably the most common for salmon fishermen overall. Kind of your steelhead, brown trout, early season king spoon. Then the one
correct.
that Terry developed when I was, started getting involved with you guys, which was the Stingray, which is probably my favorite size for out on Lake Michigan. Just a little bit bigger than the Stinger profile. And then you guys have a Magnum size, which, is pretty popular on Lake Ontario and some of the places for really big king salmon.
Right. And you probably remember that it took a lot of coaxing and prodding and nudging to get Terry to even make the Stingray size. We thought the Stinger size and the Magnum were the 2 sizes you really needed. And then when the Stingray came about, it has just exploded as well. It is that perfect in-between size.
Yeah, what's happened, I think, a little bit is in the Great Lakes as a whole, the forage base isn't getting quite as big as it once was. So Magnums are not necessarily as big a player as they once was. Standard size spoons have become the bigger player, and then the Stingray was kind of unique because when Terry brought it out, it kind of was in the middle, and nobody really had like something in between. It's either the standard size or something really big, right? So that's kind of where that was a unique spoon, and it really took off so well by me and by lots of places just because it's right in the middle and it gives you something different, and I think it matches sort of what the adult alewife forage base profile
I'm
is.
glad you brought that up because I was just going to say for people that are watching that might not know why the size matters is you're trying to match the size of the bait.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Rob, tell us a little bit about how the UV tape has changed the game for you, because that's something that you and I sort of and a few of the other guys that worked on together, I don't even know what it is now, 4 or 5 years ago, but at one time, nobody really knew what this, as the manufacturer calls it, super pearl tape, and we all call it UV tape, really was. But now, it's on everything. So give us kind of a rundown of how that happened, what maybe the different options are for UV tape, and how many different products you guys offer with it.
Okay, I know I can answer a couple of those. The UV tape is called UV tape because it has a UV look to it. It actually is not ultraviolet at all, but it has that look, and in the water, it has a very, very similar look to it as a alewife swimming through the water. It gives off that flash, the color, and which is the reason it's become so popular. It really helps match the hatch, even though the bright colors, the thousands of colors like you've got, an NBK with a green edge doesn't look natural, but you add some UV tape to it, it might add a natural look that'll help trigger some of those extra bites. But we have, since the inception of the UV tape, we've done probably over 1,000 different patterns now because of it. we've added existing patterns like UV watermelon, UV clown. So a lot of the popular standby stuff from the past has been updated because of the popularity of the tape itself.
Yeah, so one of the things we talked about before you came on was the undertaking that it has been for TRS to bring in all this salmon inventory, take pictures of it, get it on the website, and we're working on it. We're only X through. I'm not even sure. I don't want to put a number on it because it's not
third. Maybe.
Yeah, it's not far enough to be where we want to be at this point, but we're getting there. If you look at big companies like Rapala, they'll bring out a new bait, and they might bring out 12 or 18 colors. How many SKUs of stinger spoons, size stinger, would you, I know you don't have this number off the top of your head, but how many would you guess you have? How many different SKUs of stinger could a guy buy?
I don't know. I know for a fact we have over 5,000 SKUs.
Yep.
And managing that inventory is, like you're realizing now, is a huge undertaking. But there is, I'm going to guess over 5,000,
yeah.
And it's offered on all 4 sizes.
Yep. Well, we talked about when we opened the show, we talked about that our record show we've got a little north of 3,000 of your SKUs in house right now in stock, or at least I should say either in house in stock right now or coming. Because I think you got some stuff you're working on right now for us.
We're working on it today. Actually, Caleb's working on your flashers as we speak.
Perfect. So 3,000's a lot. Do you think we're going to be able to cover the ballpark of the Great Lakes and make customers happy with shipping same day if they order before noon on 3,000 stinger SKUs?
Absolutely. Nobody has a better option.
Yeah, it's a unique deal. I mean, the average place probably, even a salmon store like myself that's dedicated to it maybe has a few hundred SKUs. I mean, that would be a really nice selection. I know there's some stores and other places that might have 500 SKUs, which would be a nice selection. But we're north of 3,000, and we're excited about the commitment that we made to Michigan Stinger because we know it's a very, very popular brand, and also it's well-rounded. It's not just salmon. There's walleye involvement, so it's a pretty neat deal.
Right, and we're extremely appreciative of the commitment and the selection you guys are offering, and it is really going to help the end user getting the product that they want in an extremely timely manner, and it's definitely going to show. If somebody calls me, which you handle the phone calls all the time when I send them your way,
yep,
looking for that one color, I'm like, man, the only one I know that has it is Russell. Give Russell a call at Anglers, and he'll get you taken care of.
Yeah, that's the other thing that'll be nice. So we have talked about on the show before that previously we drop shipped a lot of stuff, which was a challenge. It was a big time challenge for us, and it was a big time challenge for you.
Half of my day every day was for drop ships.
Exactly. So one of the things that when we made this merge that Brian instantly said we want to change is we want to have this stuff in stock, and the reason is because you can manage it better. We know what we have, which is something I'm learning fast with TRS. They know exactly what they have, which is a huge benefit. B, we can supply the customer immediately because when we get into the heat of the season, I mean, you guys are obviously producing stuff daily and you're getting lots of orders every day. There can be a 1 to 2 week turnaround sometimes to get the customer to get something they really want. Just naturally by the time of year where we can get it out the door on therealshot.com basically within 24 hours, possibly the same day.
Well, that's always been my big driver is guys have a certain amount of hours that they have to fish, right? And they don't want to wait, and they don't care that Stinger's busy or we're busy or whatever. Yep. They just want their stuff, and they want it now because they're going fishing in a couple days or this weekend or whatever, right?
Yep.
And that's always been a big driver for me is making sure that the guys have what they want when they want it.
Yeah, and especially with the colors that you offer, NBK might be hot today, but mixed veggies is hot tomorrow. So if you don't have it available when they need it, that's a lost sale, and then tomorrow they're going to buy a different color.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the biggest things that's different about salmon fishing than all the other types of fishing I've done is it's so color-oriented, and because, like Brian said, a lot of the guys are weekend-based. One weekend it might be one color, the next weekend it might be the other, and if you don't have them when they walk in the door or they go online, they're going somewhere else. I mean, that just is the way it is because they got to have it right now.
I'm just catching up on a lot of this stuff. I'm reading about your e-chip technology. I think that's pretty cool stuff here. Do you want to explain that a little bit for those who don't know about it?
Yeah, I can go into it a little. Dick Poole, the inventor of the e-chip, also the owner of Pro-Trol flashers, invented the e-chip several years ago. And what it is a really tiny cylinder that's got a little piezo crystal in it and a little ball bearing. And when it shakes back and forth or spins on the flasher, when that ball and that crystal connect, it emits an electronic charge. And it has been measured that it does actually emit. It'll light. He's got a little black box thing, and when that connects, it'll light up a light. So it does, for not having a battery, it does emit an electrical charge that stimulates, additional triggers or mimics some injured bait fish. So that's really, really cool technology.
Yeah.
But I don't know how strong it is. There's some questions, but I know that it works.
Right.
And that's what's important.
Well, I think if it's worth one extra bite a day, it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. That's cool. That's super cool.
Rob, when do you think the 2019 new Stinger colors will be out? I know you guys are always sort of in that, I'm not going to quite say last to the party, but you're in the group of last to the party for new colors.
Right, and we do that on purpose.
Yep.
I know we've discussed it in the past that most of our colors are always imitated and copied by other companies. And so when we invent a color, I would really like to be the first one to make a sale on it. So we tend to do that towards the end of February, early March, and release our new patterns for the upcoming year.
Sounds like a plan. Well, I'm sure we'll be putting those in. So lots of guys have already asked me when are the new ones coming out.
I do have the walleye patterns and steelhead, coho, spring patterns. Right now, I've got them just painted up samples on copper.
Great.
For the walleye market, but you get the take of it. If you can picture it on silver, at least for now. I don't have any silvers painted up. Everything we're painting in copper is turning around, going out the door. But the majority of the important stuff in regards to the salmon bite will be within the next 2 weeks.
That brings up a great subject real quick I want to ask you about. So I talk about this all the time in seminars and stuff. When I was a kid, and Brian will know this 100%, when we fished spoons 15, 20 years ago, the blank color was all the same. Everything was silver.
Yep.
Everything we fished, whether it was a Sutton spoon to a Pro King, Northport nailer, everything was silver. Might have had a painted back, but it was a silver blank spoon. What I've seen over the course of the last couple of years is that even in salmon fishing now, take walleyes and put it aside because walleyes is almost primarily a copper or gold based deal. In salmon fishing now, I'm seeing copper and gold start to edge their way into almost, at least for our sales, almost an even share of the business with silver. And at one time, it would have been 100% silver. So, Rob, what are you seeing kind of percentage-wise? Or obviously you are seeing a lot more copper and gold in the mix now when it comes to salmon.
I'm seeing it about the same amount as you are. Your market along the western shore is the majority of the copper and gold sales on salmon-type spoons. Not much of it on Lake Ontario, almost none on our side of the lake, still is mostly silver, unless you're, the guys with the gold steely stompers, which are daily, runners in the middle of the summer when they're trying to catch a rainbow too. So you're seeing as much as I am.
Okay.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's, I know a lot of walleye guys from Bago, as that bite gets tough in July and August, kind of migrate out to the big lake.
Yep.
I wonder if that's why he's seeing that. Kind of, it's those walleye guys taking what they know out to the big lake with them.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where those numbers are coming from.
It could be. It'll be interesting to see in the next couple of years if it continues to trend that way and it spreads out and we just find out that the gold and copper is working better, or like you said, was it a few individuals who kind of got that kick started and now it's became a regional thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, and I think water clarity has the majority of the thing, to do with it. When the guys are running copper and gold for walleye, they're running in a lot of dirty water.
Right.
So I don't know. I know up here on my end of the lake, it is so clear and so sterile that you can count rocks in 60 foot of water.
Holy man.
On a calm day. So it's, I think, a clarity issue. And I don't run a lot of UV stuff up here at all because it's almost too much. I stick back to the basics, bloody nose, regular blue dolphin, white or green flashers with glow tape, and it seems to be more productive. So when you got water runoffs, dirty in the water, dirty rivers dumping into the lake, that's when I can see copper and gold being more productive in those situations too.
Yeah, and a lot of guys don't realize this, but Brian would know, I know, that the Michigan rivers are clear, and that's why there is some natural reproduction over there. The Wisconsin rivers, for the most part, have some color. And for a lot of you and I have had a lot of conversations, and Terry and I had a lot of conversations in years past that we think that's why the baitfish population is so much better on the Wisconsin side, is because they tend to hang around those harbor mouths that have some water color, have some of that stained color.
Right.
And that could be 100% of the reason, like you said, why copper and gold is becoming popular in this more colored water than it is over on your side. So that's a great point. Lake Erie, that's why copper's always been so popular. Some people think it might have something to do with goby activity, and it might, because we are seeing the coppers being such a big deal in brown trout nowadays, copper and goldback spoons. But for the most part, I think you're right. It probably has to do with water clarity too.
Yeah. So you've got a show coming up, correct?
Well, we're on the show tour, as you know. We'll be gone basically 3 of the next 4 weeks, and then one of those is our in-store event in Sheboygan, which is the 9th and 10th of March, which is when a lot of our customer base will start to see a lot of the new stuff. And it would be my guess when we'll probably, in that same ballpark, we'll probably be pretty close to finished up with the website
I would think so,
for the big display of Stinger stuff as well. I don't know if you saw on the website or not, Rob, or if you've been watching, but they're taking pictures with the backs now, which I think is critical, because so many websites, including the Angler's website prior, just showed the front. And we always did it with the flashers, but we didn't do it with the spoons. And Brian, talked to his guys and said, hey, we need to do it with the spoons too, because these customers are specifically looking for, is it a hammered spoon or is it a smooth spoon? Is it got a gold or copper or silver back? So those are things.
Just eliminates all the guesswork. Yeah. Just makes it easier for everybody.
Well, it just. Yep.
I mean, I don't want to deal with returns. Customer doesn't want to deal with not getting what they want. So it's a win-win.
Yep.
Right. No, that's good. That'll be really good and helpful to everybody to see, especially on. We have a pattern called Bite Me. Well, it's got a pink painted back, and you'd never know it by just a picture of the front.
Yep, now you got some Pooh Bears or something too that I think got colored back. So especially in the walleye game, that's popular, just like it is with the crawler harness blades. Might have chartreuse backs. Blueberry muffin, I think you make one with a chartreuse back.
Yep. Purple demon.
Yep, like you said, without a picture of the back, you'd never know what was on there. So, well, we sure appreciate.
And a lot of those patterns are available on silver, gold, copper, or the painted back.
Painted, yeah. Well, we sure appreciate you taking some time to join us today. I think it's a really cool thing here with TRS Live to be able to, bring in some video and get some take from the guys that are actually making the baits. Yep. Because a lot of times our customer base doesn't get to, hear these answers that you just gave us on some of the questions that they're asking us all the time.
Yep.
And it clarifies a little bit of what we're sharing with them as well.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, I'm happy to be on too. I was a little nervous at first. I haven't spoken to anybody Monday through Friday other than on a phone in a long time. So
we really appreciate you taking some time to do this. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Cool. Thanks again.
All right. You're welcome.
Zach, if you can zoom in a little bit, what I was talking about at the beginning was one of the things Anglers Avenue has done for years that TRS is going to do going forward, and you guys have done it in walleye and bass stuff with custom stuff, is I always like to use the term, custom or exclusive, something we designed because we feel that we needed this particular pattern or color or whatever in a bait. So I wanted to show some of the new colors that TRS is doing with Michigan Stinger, and just, because guys are calling and they're asking and they're emailing, they're Facebooking, so we can at least give everybody a little bit of a sneak peek. So this one right here is the UV Green Chin Music. It's after a popular flasher that we've done in the Michigan Stinger that we thought we should do it in a spoon.
So should we list these on here? You think? Should I type them as he's talking, and then people?
Do we have a collection made of all this stuff?
I don't think so.
Not of just these, no.
Okay.
Yep. All right. This one is Black Eyed Peas.
What we can do is we'll take a picture of this and then put a post out after we're done.
There you go. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. This one's Black Eyed Peas. Also was after a flasher that we did with Michigan Stinger. These next two are kind of a little bit of a Sheboygan creation. We talked about that UV tape. Glow green dot and glow orange dot is a standard color for Michigan Stinger. But what we did is we put that UV tape over the top, and we found that because they're a glow-in-the-dark lure, you can use them right away in the morning. But then also you can, by adding that tape, as you can see, Matt, it kind of gives it some shine. So when the sunlight comes out, you get a little reflection off it, and it basically becomes an all-day bait. The nice part about like these two, I know for sure we have in silver and gold. So again, we got them in some options, not just the one
this
style.
This would be a rainbow killer.
Absolutely.
And you mean by the silver gold, you're talking the back
color, yeah. Yep. So those particular two are in silver, which here's an example. So we did the same thing with the old-fashioned Wonder Bread color, which is one of the go-to colors out there. But this one's a gold back.
Oh,
so
nice.
we did it in a gold back.
Yep.
Gives it that option for the guys that are going to fish the early season or late season around the harbor mouth, some dirty water. Along the lines of that same green chin music, we did a blue and an orange one. Here's your steelhead killer, that orange chin music with the tape on it. So there's a blue one here. Same thing as the green, just has blue tape on it. The one Brian's got there is an orange tape version. And then we did a lot of guys like black spoons with a glow-in-the-dark back. And this is after, multiple manufacturers are making this now. They call it Carbon 14, and everybody's asked for it in a Stinger.
A lot of contrast.
Yeah, yep.
That's
so
the nice thing with that bait is you get a lot of contrast,
especially
with the glow on the back.
Yep, got glow on the back, black front, has a nice silhouette. So, that's...
Does that eye glow too?
It does.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. So this is just one small dose of kind of what we got to come.
Like really small.
Really small. Brian goes in the warehouse and shakes his head, but it's really small.
It just keeps coming. It's just
right.
Are we done with this yet?
But this is a great example about what we talked about before, why it's such an undertaking, because, Michigan Stinger doesn't have pictures of this stuff. Right. We're the only guys in the country that have it right now. So it's like...
Well, not much less have it in stock.
Well, exactly. So we got to take the pictures of each one of these individually, and, we named them. We named them when Justin put them in. So...
And if anybody ever laughs at the name of a custom bait, try naming like 1,000 baits a year and coming up with something that's creative that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, just call it number one.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Right.
Exactly.
It takes too long.
So we've done the same thing in flashers. We have new flashers, meat rigs. We got exclusive meat rigs to TRS. Brands like Diabolical in the meat rig. Flashers, we did it in Michigan Stinger. We did it in the Spin Doctors. We've got custom painted divers. The Dreamweaver deeper divers.
And those look cool.
Yeah, so we got some of these same patterns in these divers, and we've incorporated the UV tape.
You're talking dipsies, right?
Yep. We've incorporated the UV tape on these divers, which is the hot thing right now. Obviously, we've got spoons, flashers. We're bringing in flies. That's kind of been the last thing to the party here. Flies are more of a summer-oriented thing, so as we kind of prioritized what we needed first, we got a lot of the spring stuff in. We've got custom coho stuff, and cohos are a big-time targeted species down south.
Some of those oranges are just unreal.
Yep, orange stuff with UV tape on it.
I was looking at the draft of the buyer's guide, and I was looking at these orange. There's like 30 different colors. I didn't know there's that many different variations of orange. It's awesome.
Exactly, but like we've talked about before, that the guys know that on certain days the ones with the UV tape works, or the ones that have yellow dots on the orange works. So it's a pretty big deal, but it's really cool to see this whole thing unfold. That's been what's been exciting for me, because you get a little nervous when it's when it's bogging down, and you go, I hope the customer base doesn't get frustrated, but it's happening, and as it's
I think any frustration is going to go away once they see it. It's there. It's easy to shop, and it shows up in a day. I mean, they'll forgive a little bit of the. I mean, it's really easy when you don't do this every day. You don't see the absolute chaos in the warehouse.
Right.
And I don't expect them to understand, and I understand that they don't care.
Right.
And I totally get that, and I wouldn't care either if it wasn't my business. But I think in end game, long term, we're gonna do things the way we've always done things, and the end deliverable will be what they like.
It'll be way more beneficial. And don't forget, while we're on the show right now, if they like what they're seeing, they can go ahead and use that promo code TRS15. Or TRS Live to get 15% off their purchase at the checkout. So
real quick, let's just talk fishing for a little bit. So next bite's going to be the brown trout,
Spring
right?
browns, yep.
Spring browns. Now, what water temp? When do they spawn?
Well, the browns actually spawn in the fall.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep, and they come into the harbor mouth. So that's why we talked about earlier about the river fishing.
Yep.
And I just don't know if those fish just didn't get in there this year, if they're spawning on the shoreline out in the lake because maybe the water temp stayed warm. We hit a pretty warm fall, so it is possible that the water temp stayed warm enough that they stayed out in the lake. Basically, the brown trout fishing starts the minute you can put a boat in. If we can put a boat in now, it does. Down in Milwaukee, they actually keep a launch open to the best of their ability, and they fish them all year round.
Down by the power plant.
Yep. I was down there in December and went live, and some guys saw that, and it was a blast. Actually, I think it was maybe even early January. It was in between Christmas and New Year's, and right in that time frame. So that's going to start happening usually somewhere around early to mid-March, and the guys will be down there literally with their boats busting the ice open, hoping to get it together, or get it open so they can get out there. And spoons are the primary deal. Crankbaits are also real popular. Guys use bay rats, which we stock. They use Rapalas, husky jerks. But what we found in the past 3 to 5 years is that the spoon game is really taken over. The Michigan stinger size stuff has really been a big player. A couple other things like Dreamweaver Super Slims we stock, Pro Kings, they also work as well.
Now, part of the reason those fish are, the guys really go after them is they're so accessible that time of year.
They are,
right?
Yeah.
We're pretty close to shore.
Yeah,
typically,
100 yards.
Fishing
30
feet of water or less, typically.
30 feet of water or less. And actually, in the past 5 years or so, it's really been a game changer. It's now 10 feet of water or less for the most part.
Okay.
And
it's been a while since I've been down there.
Yeah, and what I think's happening is guys are finding that even a 1 or 2 degree temp change in 5-6 foot of water from the sunlight activates those fish, and all of a sudden it's gangbusters. It goes from a couple of bites to it's really going good, and they're figuring out that if you're getting 5, 6, 7 foot of water, you get that 1-2 degree temp change. You don't get that in 25.
Well, and the guys that are rigged out for trolling walleyes can easily go after those fish. You're not dealing with downriggers and dipsies. It's basically walleye fishing.
Exactly. So it's planer board fishing with your walleye gear. All you need is a couple of inline sinkers, 1/2 ounce, 1/4 ounce, whatever you can find that's small, because, again, you're in really shallow water. You need some spoons and some planer boards, and you're ready to go. And there's guys out there in 14-foot boats, 16-foot boats, all the way to 28, 30-foot boats. But you don't have to have a lot of gear, and you don't have to have a big boat to have success doing it.
Can you cast those too at that time of year?
You can. So the guys do real well off the piers.
Yep.
In each port at Sheboygan, they do well. And actually, a lot of guys will wade along the shore if you got waders, and they'll cast right from the shore. And again, if we're in 5 feet of water, we're 100 yards or less off the shore.
Yep.
Guy can wade in a little bit and cast and access the same fish.
Huh.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Nice.
Very cool. That's nice when the spoons is easy to cast too. They're weighted, so they're easy to throw.
Yep.
Very nice.
So, Russell, you're headed to Madison. Is that this weekend?
Yep. So we'll be leaving on Thursday. That show starts Friday. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Kind of what we've done. So I want to just mention quick. So when Brian and I, we did the merge, one of the things we wanted to do with the shows was kind of, show the merge, right? So we have these 2 stores now together. So we're taking sort of a mini assortment of what TRS is, right? We've got a little bit of bass. We've got a little bit of walleye. We've got a little bit of salmon. And we've pretty much took that same assortment to all the shows.
Awesome.
And we've brought a lot of custom stuff because that's what makes us different. That's what separates us online. It's what separates us in our retail stores and at the shows. And so far, it's been working. I know I've seen saw a post from the Columbus show a week or 2 ago in Ohio. That was our first year there. A couple of guys made a very nice comment saying, nicest booth there, for retail sales. Have stuff you couldn't buy anywhere else, which made me feel good.
Well, a lot of those shows, it's just dump tables full of junk.
Exactly. And that's
that's what it is.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. But we're taking the opposite. So we're taking premium stuff, actually high-end stuff that's more expensive than even our regular items because they're custom or whatever. So that's really taken over good. So in Madison this weekend, we will have the same setup again. We'll have a little bit of bass, quite a bit of walleye, and some salmon stuff.
Right.
And I was there last year for the first time, and we had a lot of success there. Guys really enjoyed our spread, and they bought a bunch of stuff from us. So I'm hoping and anticipating to be able to help those guys out again. And a lot of those guys are guys that we'll see throughout the year, right? They'll make their trip down to Appleton to purchase from the store, or they buy a lot of stuff online.
Well, and the other thing I think is unique with the booth is that we've got those kiosks there.
Yep.
So you have at the show, let's say you want to talk to Russell. Let's say you want to go talk to Russell about some new custom colors or whatever, and we're out at the show, or he didn't take that specific color or whatever, there's kiosks there where you can order. Actually, they got a couple of show discounts online only at the show that you can take advantage of. If you want to go to the show, talk to Russell, see what it's all about. For whatever reason you don't have something, you can actually get a discount through our website at the show. Wow. And then with shipping nowadays, it'll almost be to your house by the time you get home.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah. Right. No, and you can only, we only got so much space. So we got 60 by 10. So, we just talked about, we got a whole warehouse full of stuff. I don't even know what the square footage on that warehouse is, but it's huge. We can't fit it in a 60 by 10 booth. So we're not bringing everything.
And you guys try. I mean,
we try. We do our best. Yeah.
I mean, you just bought a new trailer this year just to house more.
Exactly. And you still can't.
You can't fit it all. It's impossible.
That's a prime example of, you got two options at the show if we don't have it, which I don't think anybody else has really got this. You have the kiosk right there that one of us can help you pick it out, or if you definitely know what you want, on each receipt there's a discount coupon on the bottom. A lot of guys want to go home. They want to open up their tackle box, look what they bought at the show, look what they need, and they can use this. We're leaving this coupon code open for all of 2019. They can use this one time to make their purchase. So they go home and they go, I want all these new stingers that, TRS has.
Right.
I'm going to sit at my convenience and look these all over, check my tackle box, what else I need. I'm going to utilize this code, this one-time code, and get the most bang for my buck.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and you know how it is. It could be overwhelming too. I mean, all these colors. You look at it. When you go out in the store, you walk down that wall. It's a third of the assortment. Quarter of the assortment. You're just like,
right. And you hear it quite a bit. It's like, let me go see what I'm out of at home.
Right.
Definitely.
I was just gonna say, what I've always been amazed about at the shows is you go to these shows. We put a ton of money, ton of time, ton of effort in these shows. Customer will come in, he'll buy an item or two, we'll chit chat for 20 minutes. And I'll get home, and he'll have an online order in. And I'll think to myself, well, you were just at the show, right? But the reality is, he wanted to go home. He wanted to think about it a little bit. He wanted to look at what he had.
Yep.
And I actually think that the shows end up, creating more online orders, and a lot of times they even do in the show itself, because the customers want to come there. They want to chit-chat. They want to BS, drink a beer, drink a soda, have a hot dog, buy an item or two. But they make most of their really big purchases at the convenience of their seat at home on therealshot.com. Right. So that's where these discount codes or the kiosk really gives an opportunity.
Well, and that's exactly right, because a lot of the time, too, maybe it's a new technique they've never even thought about doing before.
Go home, do some
they
research.
Get some expert advice, and all of a sudden now they're like, oh, yeah, I do have some stuff, or I don't have all the stuff, or, it's just, which is nice. Like you said, they could take advantage of that code if it's a one time, but it's good for the whole 2019 season, right?
Yep.
Sweet.
Very cool.
So, it's that was really awesome. I'm glad Rob was able to
join that was awesome. I'm glad he was able to do that.
I couldn't imagine, I look at our selection, I couldn't imagine what that guy's selection of stuff looks like.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to peg hook. He doesn't have to display it all.
Somebody has to do something like that.
Actually, I've been there multiple times. So those guys are close friends of mine. They almost became like family when I was younger, and pro staff for them. So I've been to their place multiple times. So actually what they do have is in their warehouse, they have those like plastic drawers, and they will make stock during the season of each color, at least a few, so that they can get an order out as fast as they can. The problem is they can only make so much ahead, right? So, but they do have some of almost everything ready to go, and it's all the walls are covered with these pull-out little drawers to have a couple of each, right? Because like nuts. You said, they've got thousands and thousands.
And every year they
have
to come out with new colors.
Yeah.
How many new colors do they usually release a year? Do you know?
It depends on the year, but 8 to 12, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like us. I don't even know what we got here, but it looks like there's 3, 6, 7, 8. So about the same thing.
I'm just kind of curious, So
there's a lot of work that goes involved into developing a new pattern.
That's what I was just going to ask.
Just be like a lot of custom painters and copy somebody else.
Right.
There's a lot of work that goes into coming up with something new.
That actually brings up a great point. So I had a conversation with a customer that called the store yesterday, and he was telling me, I see this other shop or this other place. He's painting up all this stuff himself, and I said, the big difference between what we've done and what we're doing now is nothing will be put on TRS's website as a new custom unless we know it works. It's either a color that we've tested, or a color match of something we've used before.
Right.
That's the biggest difference. If we put it on there, all of this stuff is proven stuff. We know it works. We're not just putting it out there to sell something different.
Correct.
Where a lot of the guys, like you said, they're just throwing a couple dots on it, or taking what somebody else has done, throw a couple added dots on it to be able to have something a little bit different. We've always prided ourselves upon making sure what we put out there works, and it goes to show because the guy comes back and buys more, right?
Well, I keep going back to this one right here with that half half cracked ice, half orange. I mean, that's pretty unique looking. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I got to fish one of those this year.
So, and I'm just asking in general, like in this world of custom lures, because we're such a large player now, we'll have more customs readily available where we don't have to send them out and get them painted up.
This stuff is coming direct from them.
Right,
custom.
but on the lure side, like the crankbait side of it, that's where it could take a little longer for
so we have two different really kinds of customs. We have customs we get directly from the manufacturer, which would be this stuff here.
Okay.
And then we have stuff that we now have, I think, 4 painters.
Yep.
Because we do so much, we got to have 4 painters that we're basically dispersing product to regularly.
Right.
Like our divers we talked about, those are painted by one of our painters. Our bandits, our perfect 10s, whatever.
Yep.
That stuff can take a little more time. That stuff's a lot more labor intensive for Justin as well to inventory those items because we send out X, we sell out of them right away. A great example of that I was looking for was the Z-Viber. That just took off huge.
Yep.
Okay, we sold those so fast it was crazy. Got more and sold them again right away. So that was a bait that we brought in, sent to one of the painters, and had it done.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's a custom for a reason because not all the baits are going to look identical to the one
None
before.
of them look the same.
It's not a custom.
Well, and batch 1 might look different than batch 2. I mean, bait 1 and bait 2 and batch 1 might not even look the same. And batch 2, well, because it's an artist thing. If you deal with artists, they're kind of open to their interpretation, so to speak.
Yeah, it kind of puts a smile on my face because you've done this. I know you have. I guarantee it. You fish a walleye tournament, and you run to that store after you had a good day of pre-fishing, and you pull the rack off, and you set them down 8 crankbaits, and you literally scan them over, even stock stuff, because you're looking for the one that's got the purple down a little bit further, like the one you caught them on. You're paying that much detail. And Brian's right. They're all custom. It's all an artistic deal, and they all might be a fuzz difference. So that's kind of what's cool about it is they're not all the same.
When we run into it sometimes with customers online,
they
get the bait. It's not exactly like the picture.
That's my point.
I knew you were going with it, and I agree. It will be Megan, or send your wife. I used to send her on chases to try to find baits.
Oh, nice.
I'd take a picture of because I'm on the lake. I'm like, I got to find this bait. And she'd run like 300 miles trying to find this stuff.
What
a
great
thanks,
wife.
honey. But where was I going?
No, just customers online.
Right.
Where this custom doesn't look like that custom.
Right.
And it's not going to.
I mean, we try to keep it as close as we can. But when you're dealing with a guy in his basement, typically his shop or whatever, they airbrush, there's going to be some differences. But I think that's the whole beauty of the custom thing. I don't think people understand that a custom crankbait is literally hand-painted individually.
Yes.
You're paying a lot more, but each one's hand-painted.
One of our painters just actually came on here. Morning, Nick. So if Nick would be a prime guy to just, even make a comment on there that he hand paints them all, just like you said. And they all look very similar, but each one might have a dot a little bit bigger than the next or look a little bit different.
Well, and it's
whatever.
a business for these guys, too, so they want to try to get as much done as fast as they possibly can, but still have, the good quality to it. So if they're trying to do, X amount of baits and this one drips a little bit more than that one.
Exactly.
Now that's the thing. Now that bait that dripped just that much more is probably the one they're going to want.
You're dealing with airbrushing, and I haven't done it myself because my hands would never allow me to do that.
It's tough.
But I've watched it, and if you just put a little extra, like you're saying, you put just a little extra paint on that one spot from that airbrush, and now you go to hang it, and then it runs or whatever.
And that's what he said. I mean, Nick just said we work as hard as they possibly can.
I didn't mean that. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm saying that's the reality of custom painting. That's just what it is.
We're just informing customers that if you're on our website and you're shopping and you get that bait at home, that custom may not look like the custom that was on the website. And we understand that we're trying to make it all flow the way it best possibly can, trying to update pictures as fast as we possibly can. But to me, not all gobies look the same, right? So if you're buying a goby-looking bait, how do you know that goby bait?
And that's always my biggest thing, too, is this could be this Wonder Bread, right? It can be the hottest color ever, but there's not a minnow on the planet that swims around looking like this.
Right.
So a lot of that's a fisherman, and I'm guilty as charged. Right? If this pink dot was here, but on the next one it's on the bottom, I'm like, I'm
out.
Not the one. It ain't gonna work.
Not the one.
But it's just a confidence
There's things that are out of our control too.
Yes.
So sometimes paint gets discontinued. I've had it before where I have a guy send me a bait or a picture of bait and be like, the yellow on the new such and such custom is different than this yellow, and I'll ask the painter and he'll go, Createx got rid of that paint, I had to switch to a different
what
paint. So there's nothing you can do, right? So some things are out of the control, but it's even gotten to the point where, and it's kind of unique on these chin musics, and you'd know this too, Brian. So they'll come both ways, right? So this orange on one side, you'll have the orange on
and you
this
can't see
over
it
here.
as well in the video,
right?
But it looks awesome.
Yep. So the orange will actually be available if you picked through TRS's rack on both sides, because of course they use both pieces of tape.
Right.
So back in my day as a first mate, Dumper Dan would send me to the store, and we used to use Pro Kings, which are the same way. They're taped. There'd be red on one side maybe and glow on the other. And he'd specifically say,
top or bottom.
red on the right.
Oh.
Or top or bottom, like you said. Glow on the left.
Yep.
We don't want any red on the left. It's red on the right, glow on the left. That's the one we're catching them on. Get 3 of those.
But it's just so funny because you drop that one that's the opposites, and that might produce.
It might be better.
It might be better.
It's a confidence thing.
It's a confidence.
But you just don't know. Maybe it is the difference maker. Right?
Right.
Is anybody really, like I was talking about this pink dot, is anybody really going to take their 8-hour day, right? Go fish with it the opposite, because it just might not. It might have actually been.
Well, and I like Todd's comment there. He goes, "Fish just aren't picky."
I know. I think that's the
some
case.
days they are, but it could be the same thing when you're shooting your bow. Maybe you're not working that rod correctly. Maybe something's differently. When you shoot a bow, sometimes if you're off the target, you think automatically your bow is off.
Yep.
But it could be you're not trolling the right
and these guys
depth.
in the chat aren't wrong. Fish aren't that picky. They got to bring this big.
Yep.
But are you, in your day of your tournament day, are you willing to take that chance? No. That's what it comes down to, right?
Nick, if you got a picture of that reel, throw it on the chat for a second. I'll show these guys in a minute if you got one.
You know what I'm saying? So we talked about custom dipsies, right, or custom divers.
Yep.
I think that's really cool.
I do too.
Talking about what the guy from Singer was talking about how clear that water is. It's just another piece of the equipment that's an attractor.
Yep.
Right? And if you ever watch fish, they're always going to go after primarily the wounded thing. Yep. But if that dipsy can generate a couple of more fish to be interested in your presentation, that's pretty awesome.
Well, and the key is a lot of times the dipsy is the bigger item, right? So unless you're
trolling
a pretty big flasher,
it's
first thing coming through the water, and a lot of times it's bigger. Well, a fish is going to see the biggest item from the furthest away. So the color of that item is going to be important to get his attention.
Right.
Once you got his attention, then the spoon behind it, the fly behind it is the sales. That's the salesman. He seals the deal. But you got to get him to come into the presentation first. And like you said, drawing their attention is critical.
Well, we used to, again, I talked about the tank we used to have in Oshkosh a little bit. We used to take a whole bucket full of minnows and dump them in there.
Yep.
And those fish would all look at the whole pot of minnows. And as soon as one went limp or dead or started falling out of the pack, that's the one that would get smoked almost immediately. So they know that. I mean, they can see that wounded look of the spoon, and that's what they're going to key on. And just instinct-wise, that's what they're going to key on.
So the buyer's guide, to reiterate one more time, is done in the sense of guts information.
Yeah, the hard part's done. The meat and potatoes is done. I'm not saying what Megan does isn't hard.
Now they're going to dress it up and make it ready for everybody to view. But the unique part that I want to mention for this year is we're going to have it in hard copy form, which has never been available before. So we are going to blast it on all the same social media sites we have before.
It'll be downloadable online, but we'll also have it printed out in stores.
Which will be nice, because if you're coming to the Appleton location or you're coming to the Sheboygan location, one of the challenges I always have, and everybody knows this, if you have your own small business, everybody wants to talk to the guy, right? Guy walks in here, I want to talk to Brian. I remember him from 15 years ago. Well, I do my best, but I can't live there, right? So the buyer's guide gives the opportunity for the customer to check out what's in there, what the hottest, what the newest is, and grab and go if he needs to. If the opportunity isn't there that day to have that conversation he's looking to have, by having that hard copy in the store, it's going to be really nice for both places.
And if guys want to sit down and look at something, it's just...
Yeah. It'd be fun to look at.
And we're going to come out with what? Walleye buyer's guide, a bass buyer's guide. I don't know. We're kind of on the fence with pine fishing. Probably ice next year.
We definitely will ice next year. Yep. So the walleye guide's already sort of in process, and I think the bass one will be shortly to follow. And like we talked about before, the experience level we have in-house here and at the Sheboygan location gives us a unique opportunity to be able to do that.
Yep, I agree.
Well, cool. So, awesome. That was a lot of awesome stuff. So, again, Russell's going to be in Madison this weekend. And going to have a lot of awesome stuff there. And they have the kiosk, and there's a discount code down there.
Yep. That only works at the show.
Only works at the show.
Only works at the show.
So make sure to go see Russell.
If you're at the show, it definitely pays by to swing by the booth and
Absolutely.
talk to Russell and get the code. And
we have our TRS Live promo code that we're kind of wrapping up with. But, if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment them here. We'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. And Russell's going to be in store for next couple of hours.
I got a doctor's appointment this afternoon, but I'll be here for a little bit. And check those comments later, and I can respond back too. But I think it was a very good show for us today. Bringing Rob in was really cool.
That was awesome.
Excited about that.
Yeah, that was really cool. So then Wednesday we have Glenn
Curran
from Battle on Bagel.
He's one of the founders of Battle on Bagel. Will be here in studio. We can talk a lot about Battle on Bagel, what to expect this weekend, his outlook on the event, some history on the event.
Yep.
I think what the cool thing I'm interested in talking to Glenn about is the philanthropy part of Battle and Bagel, what they're doing with some of the funds, putting money back into the system and some of those things. I'm excited to talk to him about what that event's actually giving back to the community, because I know they do a lot of it.
So now's a good time. If you have any questions for Glenn, make sure to write them down and then tune in on Wednesday and get them on here right away, and we'll answer them the best way you can. But I think we're going to wrap it up at that point. Again, Russell, thanks for joining us this morning and making the time, and thanks for everybody that tuned in and watched. It was another great show. We appreciate it all, and we'll see everybody on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Now remember, everybody, please like, comment, share this video or any of our stuff for us. I did want to give one quick shout out. Over the weekend, we blasted past 14,000 likes on the Facebook page, which is pretty awesome.
Yep.
I'm happy with that. I think we're around 14,066. So if we can get that up to, I think maybe if we get that up to 20,000 as quickly as possible, we should do a really big giveaway right here on
Zach
TRS
and I
Live.
discussed this. We have a couple things in mind that we're going to give away here. So we're going to get that done and taken care of. It. One's going to be an Instagram giveaway to help get those numbers up, and then we're going to do a Facebook giveaway as well. So
definitely.
And then we also have the affiliate program. That's on the bottom of the website, Zach, if you want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, remember, as much as you guys are always tuning in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if you want to support our business and yourselves even more, head on over to trsoutdoors.com or therealshot.com. You'll be able to find TRS affiliate links on both, where you'll be able to sign up for our affiliate program. We'll review you, add you in, and then you'll be able to sell product for us and make a little bit of money back. We got a 7% commission, which is very competitive. And then we also have a 60-day cookie. So if somebody clicks your link but doesn't buy right away, they have up to 60 days for it to benefit you, to get you your commission. And with that, we've got a couple more perks coming to the affiliate program here in the next coming days and weeks. So that is definitely something to keep your eyes peeled for. Other than that, please head on over to our Instagram page at TRS Outdoors. Give us a follow. And that's kind of it. So
I just want, before we wrap this up, are we at the point now where these are going to be, where all can you see the show now? It's or hear, see it or hear it.
Yep. So live, you'll be able to see the show right here on Facebook or over at trsoutdoors.com. And then afterwards, obviously, you can find it right here on Facebook or YouTube at The Real Shot.
And this week we should have them on podcast as well.
They're going to be okay. That's
I got most of it done Friday. Yep. I'm at the point where we got to go back and upload the past shows.
Perfect.
And Zach needed to help me out with some of that, but I think I got the general structure. And then
awesome.
Should be available on Podbean, on iTunes, all the Google Play Store, whatever. There's a whole bunch of different avenues. We got to figure out which ones we want to do, but
so you'll be able to get your fix anytime, any place, anywhere.
We should be able to have the podcast stuff up this week for sure.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's wrap it up and let's have a good Monday, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks much.
Yeah, thank you.